welcome to our first Live Now podcast.
I'm so glad to be here.
Tracy Bullock of Bullock Training and Development. Great to have you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming. So tell me a little bit about your background, just what led you to where you're at right now.
You know, I came from a world of corporate training.
Okay.
You know, Procter & Gamble, almost 30 years, developing people my whole life. And it's a passion of mine to not only help them develop personally, but to figure out how they can translate it professionally, to not only be successful at what they do, but really feel wonderful about doing it.
Right.
So when I retired, I really looked for a program or a way that I could share what I've learned and bring things that I'm always looking to learn into the lives of the people I help.
Wow. And you're training on a international level.
Yes, I was. I was training both. First started in the U.S., of course, and then P&G, Procter & Gamble is only a promote from within company. So everybody was responsible not just for delivering a number, but for developing the organization they were responsible for.
Okay.
Got to take that regionally across the country, U.S., and then eventually got to develop the capability program for a global business unit within P&G and travel on somebody else's credit card and appreciate other cultures that we're also trying to learn from what we know.
That's amazing. How long were you training internationally?
I was training internationally 3 years.
Okay.
2 of the years I was actually assigned to Geneva.
Wow.
And got to go, be on a continent for a month and really study the cultures, understand how what I do and what I bring can translate or not, and how you need to adjust based on the cultures.
That is amazing. So in upcoming podcasts, we're going to do an overview of each of the chapters. But in today's podcast, we just want to give more of a general overview of the book itself. You've read the book.
I have.
Thank you again. I appreciate that. What was your overall impression of the book? What did you get out of it, and just what did you enjoy the most about the book?
Well, I've got to tell you, the title itself, How I Beat Self-Sabotage and How You Can Too, is probably what I try to help people overcome the most, because, typically the way we behave is the way we envision ourselves and what we can or can't do. And what I like best about the book is not only you made it real, talking about experiences you had, but it was humorous at times, it was heartwarming at times, at other times it kind of pulled at your gut a bit, because you really talked about all the traps we set for ourselves and how we fall into excusing getting up off our tushes and getting something done. It's not only the backstory, really, I'm thumbing through it as we talk, but it's really, how do you break it down, and you call it chunking. How do you chunk it down so that everything is doable?
Right, exactly.
And everything is geared towards what makes sense for me and how do I protect my own self-identity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what attracted me most to the title, and then reinforce what I'm doing.
Right.
The concept that was really different for me was shoot for the middle. Shoot for the middle, because, and it makes sense, because as somebody who actually goes to the target range every once in a while, you always go for the spot that can, is easiest to hit, and make sure that you hit what you aim for. And I really like the concept, but it's made me think a little bit differently about maybe how I was setting goals and how I was approaching what success or lack thereof meant for me.
In books that I've read or heard about, it's just, the more relatable it can, just tell your story, just make it relatable. What have you been through, and just share it. And that was just the whole goal. And it was really, really cool when you shared it with the Sandler class, because it's just very general. I mean, it can relate to all facets, whether you're losing weight or building your business or whatever you want to do. It's just, here's what helped. Let's share it with other individuals. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, sure.
That feedback.
Well, and when we talk about barriers to success this week,
right,
in our Sandler class, it's really going to be it's going to come to light even more, because what people find, of course, is the biggest barrier to their own success is themselves. So, I also had an opportunity to share it with a group of 40 other people that I'm doing law of attraction kind of accountability stuff with. And really what you put out there is what you get back. and your the circle really talks about what am I going to protect, what am I going to ask for, and what am I going to not let in, and that's the negative thoughts, and how you practice that. And so I sent the book as well as the link on Amazon to everyone because I think it's so relatable to the program itself and to what the people who are focused in that group on building their own, attracting the positive stuff that they hope to get out of life.
And on that note, what other things did that bring to light as far as, I guess, elaborate more on the circle and tightening your circle? What else has that helped you with as far as that, and just what did that bring to light as far as that topic?
Well, you and I have talked offline about some struggles I have about how I keep true to myself as I grow my business and I grow as an individual. And what really spoke to me about the circle was sometimes you have to let things sunset and you have to be okay with letting go of maybe old connections or old friendships because they might be counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish, or they might truly bring negativity into a situation you're trying to change. And I think for me, we'd already talked about it. I certainly know it already had to be done, but it just solidified it. Reading it made it come alive for me again. I mean, it just kind of gave me permission to approve my choices, let's say that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Who else do you see benefiting from reading the book, or different chapters that jumped out at you? Who else do you see that could benefit from it?
You know, it's interesting. There's a couple of organizations I've been thinking about for you. One is Girl Scouts of America. And I was lucky enough to hear Sandra Day O'Connor and the CEO, slips my mind and it shouldn't, of the Girl Scouts of America organization speak at Women of the West down at the Herd about 4 weeks ago. And everything that Girl Scouts stands for, which is, empowering young women, young girls and young women to not only embrace community, but really have a true sense of themselves, that would be an interesting place to take it. Teams who are trying to get past conflict resolution or trying to embrace change, mergers and acquisitions, companies who are merging need to let go of what was, both for the company that got bought as well as the company that purchased, because when you add something new, everything new is created. And you have to start over at that team development stage. I guess last but not least, any program where, think of college, think of leadership classes, think of communication classes where you talk about, or even HR, the SHRM organization, Society of HR Managers, as they try to work with people who are unhappy at their jobs and try to figure out why. Those might also be great places to think about taking your information.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That wraps it up.
Great.
Easy peasy. Thank you again,
Sure.
Tracy Bullock.
It's great to be here.
Thank you, Bullock Training and Development. It's great to have you.